Happy Friday Eve, everybody. D Gun, Rob Ellis hanging out with you. Here's what I've noticed. Gunner, Tom Coughlin used to have a rule. If you were 15 minutes early, you were late.
Yep.
Gunner subscribes to the opposite of that.
Don't you know this by now?
I know it. You're the anti-Tom Coughlin. What's up, everybody? It's Joe Ho, Decoy, Tina, Jim G, Dynasty, Rich, Rome, Mr. Taz, Brandon. What's up, Gunner? The Fandalorian. Killer Ferret's back. Your favorite handle, Derek.
I saw one in here I hadn't seen before. Where is it? Look, Decoy Gaming. Hadn't seen that one up. What's up, Decoy?
Everybody's hanging. Everybody's hanging today.
Who else? There's another one. See, people started mess already. Look, Rich McClatchy. D-Gun OD'd on his kid's candy. Okay. Where's that other one I saw a minute ago here?
What's up, Peter? Yes, Dallas does still suck. You are correct, sir.
Dallas still sucks. Okay.
Yes.
Wait a minute. How about what Tina says? Bleep Dallas. Tina, really? You want to start off on that kind of?
Good for you, Tina.
I can't say the word. I don't use that word in my vocabulary, but let's see. I got to find this other. Oh, Mr. Taz. They busy eating candy.
I did dip into. I had to run because I was running around last night. But what's up, Jeremy? What's up, Chuck? Jim G. So we had my wife got a couple of the Hershey bars, like your wife had the full one.
Yes.
So I had one of those bad boys down last night before I went to go do radio, and that hit the spot. That was nice.
Here's a big struggle. And I haven't done it. I think I did it one time in all the years I've been on this side of the country. You know, when we go up to the Hershey store, you know, they have Hershey candies that are not even in the store.
You can smell it when you roll into town, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. But they have this like the Mr. Good bar. This thing is like
they're huge. They
3
had
feet long.
Yes.
And I'm like, I gotta have it, but I can't. I'm not paying that for candy.
I know.
I can't do it.
My daughter used to play soccer tournaments up there in Hershey, right?
Yeah.
So it was really cool what they would do. And this was it. They would do it in like this time of year, like November,
right?
When everything had kind of trailed off. You would play like 3 games in the morning, and then in the afternoon they'd close down the park just for all the kids playing in the soccer tournament. It was awesome, man, awesome. But you'd also be in the candy stores, and it's like you can't get out of there without loading up. It's too tempting.
You know, every time I go to that store, I have to do the train ride, and here's why. Usually, when I go up there, it's because my wife has family coming in from out of town, or we have family, and now we have grandkids. And every time I get on the train ride, and you've been on that train, right?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Okay, so it's not just the train ride. Here's what I enjoy most about it. You know how you stand? You got to stand in those long lines, and it takes forever to get up to the front. But what they do is incredible. They put the whole history of Milton Hershey, his family, how he started the chocolate company, where he came from, all these different caption pictures from back in the day. And it tells you, and then you get to the point where it tells you about where they get the cocoa beans from and the process it goes through to make chocolate. And every time I go, I read something I missed before. Sometimes the lines move faster. Sometimes they're really slow, depending on the time of year you go up there. And I love reading about history. I love anything history, museums. And then you get on that actual train, and it shows you the process of how different things are made.
Yeah.
And I find that fascinating,
I do too. He was a brilliant man. And I'll tell you what, he now granted the business went through the roof, but he's done a lot for that town. He's done a lot for the surrounding areas. He's given a ton back. He did it exactly the way you should do it. So props to Milton Hershey and his family.
The stadium is named after him. The arena is named after him. He's hospitals, stores, the factory, schools, not just one school. I mean, grade school, middle school, high school. Yeah. He basically, his family legacy employed the whole town, basically.
Yep, I agree.
There's a lot of other big corporations up there, but the name Hershey is synonymous with that area for people, not just surviving, but thriving.
100%. Yeah, it's very cool. If you live somewhat in the area, if you haven't been, I would suggest checking it out at some point. It's really cool. It's really cool. All right, lot to do today, Derek, as we gear up for Cowboys week. So let me give you a countdown. So we have 77 hours and 17 minutes until kickoff between the Eagles and the Cowboys. I want to start. Let me start right here. just going to wait a minute to hit you with this, but I want to hit you with this right now.
Okay.
First, what's up, everybody else? Twiz, Cody's,
Cody's what? What did Cody's what? Rob? Cody's what?
Cody's ... And Reyes. Quiz.
Come on, Rob. We're all family here. You can say it.
Cody's nuts. There you go.
Attaboy.
I posed this to my listeners last night on my radio show, but I want to get your gauge on this, and I want everybody in the chat to jump in here. Does it feel like a Cowboys week, or is there sort of manufactured hype that you almost feel like you have to do it? And I'll be honest with you. There's no team, you know this, that I dislike sports hate more than the Cowboys. Not even close. But I'm not feeling it a little bit this week. And I should be. I mean, both teams are good. Eagles are 7-1. Cowboys are 5-2. This game has a lot of meaning. The Eagles could win this and go 8-1 into the bye week before they start playing this. They've already started. Dallas is the first game of this tough stretch. Yep. But I for whatever, I don't know if I'm still like dealing with a Phillies hangover. I don't know what it is. I honestly don't have a really good answer for it, for what the situation is. But are you feeling it like we usually feel it, Derek?
Well, I am, because we talk about it every day. You know how I am about football and matchups and things like that. I cannot get a true gauge on it, because since I've started working for me, I'm more secluded. I do this show here from my home. I do pre and post game shows from the comfort of Ocean Casino. Whereas when I worked in television more, I was out and about daily, practices, out and about public more, and you get a true gauge for it. So I haven't seen the volume of hatred spewed on social media towards Dallas. Now, I've seen some, but not with the high volume. I'm sure it's going to increase as the weekend gets closer, but I've not seen the high volume up to this. Usually whoever the Eagles play the week before Dallas, people spend that Monday or Tuesday talking about the game pass before they ramp up for the next opponent.
Yeah.
When it comes to Dallas, people turn the page as soon as that game's over and start ramping up about Dallas. I have not seen it as much or in high volume. Now our producer Tone said he has a different algorithm on his social media page maybe than I do. But and you doing radio several times a week, I would imagine you would get a better flavor for it based on the volume of calls you get in on a nightly basis. But I have not felt, it's kind of like a mundane week so far.
Yeah, like we're into Thursday now. Like Wednesday is when you really turn the page on the last game. It's where you've moved on from the last game and you're looking forward by Wednesday. Thursday, you're really diving into it, right? And I got two interesting calls right off the top, but I'm seeing a lot of things like that. Tina says Cowboys hate us more now. Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, right? But I think that what two callers said to me was, and I think this is dangerous thinking by fans, but whatever. They said, what's Dallas done that I should get so hyped up about them?
Right.
They don't win in the playoffs. They said they're like the Sixers. They're a lot of hype, and ultimately there's not the payoff in the playoffs. They haven't won a Super Bowl in 25 years. Why should I get cranked up about them?
Right.
Now, I get that, and believe me, I love to use that as much as anybody to dig into Cowboys fans that they haven't won anything in 25 years.
Right.
But this is a good Cowboys team.
Yes, it is.
And I think there's one other thing. The Cowboys have played it smart all week.
Yep.
Jerry Jones, who usually shoots his mouth off, has been nothing but singing the praises of Jalen Hurts.
Yep. Michael Parsons.
He said, I don't want to poke the bear when it comes to the Eagles. Micah Parsons, Eagles are the number one team. Like, they have played it very crafty. I think it's a calculated thing, whatever. It's smart. They haven't done anything to stir the pot at all.
No. I mean, the actual game itself both teams understand the significance of what this matchup is, but Dallas, usually there's Jerry or a player or two that will spout off and say something. You're right. You haven't seen any of that. But people who think the Eagles are just going to rough ride over the Cowboys, think again. I mean, I'm shocked. Dallas has the third-ranked defense in the league.
Yes, and they're the second-ranked offense.
In a second-ranked offense.
In terms of scoring. Yeah.
say what you want, and sometimes we overhype stats. We just like we overhyped the Miami Dolphins stats and stuff, and the Eagles came in here, got them in their backyard and shut them down. Everything is week to week. They both average 28 points a game. The over and under is whatever the over under is.
46 and a half.
Okay, 46 and a half. So that's 56 points between them. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of these 24-20, 21-17 type games, to be honest with you.
So you think a little bit lower?
I'm thinking it could be lower. And I'm going back and forth on this. Both teams have big play capabilities. Eagles more so, obviously, than Dallas has shown, but they both have big play capabilities, but both have good defenses as well. Mm-hmm. I think the Eagles are more vulnerable than Dallas in the pass defense.
Oh, for sure. For sure they are.
But this is a rivalry, and as we know, Rob, rivalries don't subscribe to the norm. There's always some craziness that goes on, even more so. We've talked about how games this year across the board in the NFL have left us shocked in a lot of ways. There's at least 3 to 4 games a week that leave us shocked every week.
Just go to last week. I mean, there was a lot last week, including Denver beating KC.
Yes, craziness. And I see this game falling in that same category. Everything we expect, probably more than 60% of it won't play out the way we think it will. Yeah. But I just think if people are overlooking this Dallas team, you're wrong. I expect the Eagles to win the game because they're playing it here in Philadelphia. And after this game, whoever wins, whoever loses, when they go to Dallas, I probably lean towards Dallas if these teams continue to win before they meet up again. I think it's one of these home and home type things.
I agree with you. Look, I have kind of mixed feelings on the game. I do think the Eagles win ultimately, and because it is home. I think they're going to be improved on defense, not shut down, but better than what we saw last week. And I think the Eagles offense will be able to do some things, but I don't go into this thing feeling overconfident by any stretch. First of all, you gave the stat yesterday. Dak's 8-3 against the Eagles.
Yes. The
Eagles do not defend him well for whatever reason. No. They just don't. And he comes in here feeling good about himself against this team. I think we're in for a really tight one. Like the notion from Eagles fans, like this is a walkover. I don't see it. I'm sorry, man. I don't.
There's too much at stake here, and every team will have big plays and every team will have big mistakes. If you go back to last season, and I'm talking about the game where the Eagles played Dallas down in Dallas, and of course Gardner Minshew played in that game. But the Eagles defense was virtually intact, except Avonte Maddox got hurt early in that game.
That's right.
If you go to that game, the Eagles gave up, I believe it was 41 points in that game, 40 points.
Yeah.
And that was in Dallas, and the Eagles scored a lot of points on Dallas with Minshew under center, but, they gave up a chunk of real estate. So, that's why I say, if the Eagles win here, Dallas will win home. If Dallas wins here, Eagles win down there. I don't think either one will win both games, to be honest.
Oh, I think it's a split. Yeah, I do. I think it's a split. I think the Eagles have already taken care of business twice against Washington. I think they could do the same thing if those games even have meaning at the end with the Giants. I think they'll do the same thing. But I said from the jump, I think this is a split, with these two teams for sure.
I mean, last year, Prescott in Dallas, 347, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 6 times in that game and still threw for 347.
Yeah. Yep. And he had a pick six. He had a pick six. Sweat had a pick six. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think this is the Eagles' defensive line is everything in this game because they don't protect him well, and they don't have a really good offensive line. Their line's banged up. The Eagles the D-line can't have a similar effort that they had last week, where Sam Howell only got sacked once. That one was a big one, but that can't happen. They have to have multiple sacks in this game and force him into mistakes because he will hold the ball too long. He will do a little hero ball kind of stuff down the field, and that's where you win. That's the turnover. Look, the Eagles have escaped the turnover thing this year. The Eagles have 13 turnovers, Derek.
Yes.
For 8 games.
And only 4 interceptions.
Yeah. So they've escaped that so far.
Yep.
This is where that stops. It has to stop. You have to flip that number around because you start losing the turnover battle to these teams, you're going to lose games. I guarantee it.
Washington offensively showed the blueprint how to attack this Eagles defense. Get the ball out of your hands quickly. Sam Howell was like shoot, up and down the field. They couldn't even get to him behind that Washington offensive line. Dallas's offensive line, even if Tyron Smith doesn't play, is a better offensive line than Washington's. And that's a little concerning that they only got to Sam Howell one time. It was a big sack by Reddick, no question. It was a momentum shifting sack by Reddick, no question about that. But if I'm Dallas and I'm studying the film offensively, okay, if we can hold that offensive line, but see, the thing is, Dak will hold the ball longer than Sam Howell did. You know, Dak wants to see, Dak likes to pat the ball, step back there, bounce his feet a little bit, and then throw. Sam Howell, Eric Bieniemy said, get that ball out of your hand. Dak is not that kind of quarterback, which hopefully allows the Eagles front to get up in his face a little bit more. But if Dak has time to throw, he's going to serve. He's going to serve it against that secondary. He's going to serve.
Sure.
This has to be huge games for Slay and Bradbury. Byard, another week into the system, I expect to play better, but I still think they're going to have problems defending the pass in this game.
Think about this too. You get this win, you're up 2 games going into your bye week.
Absolutely.
That's so big, and you'll still be the lone, 1-loss team. San Fran's in a bye week already. They've lost 3. Dallas has lost 2. Lions 2. Seahawks 2. To have that edge on those teams, and again, you're going to be facing a lot of these teams too as we go forward. But yeah, it's going to be that's why I don't know why there isn't that field. Even if it wasn't the Eagles Cowboys thing, a 5-2 team and a 7-1 team with a 4:25 Sunday game should be through the roof. And it just doesn't feel. People can disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm just throwing it out there the way that I feel in the sense that I get from people. What's up, Fitness Rebel?
I can remember years past when it was Dallas week. We remember how we'd have to cover all these different pep rallies around Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
That's
all we would do. I remember walking around the Italian market, like getting man on the street stuff back in the day, and going to certain bars in the area. Like I always.
And now I don't see it. I don't feel it. Watching the local news, I don't see it. I just don't feel it. But I think by Saturday it'll really ramp up. And of course Sunday people get in a feeding frenzy watching all the 1 o'clock games. Let's get this game going. Let's get this Cowboys Eagles games going. Yeah. And I'll get a flavor for it. I get an inconsistent flavor for it at Ocean Casino.
Yeah.
Because while you do have a large contingent of Eagles fans there, you have just as many Giants and Jets fans in that big Galleria they have, big, beautiful Galleria they have with all those monitors around the different walls. So it's hard to get a true gauge for it as well. You see a lot of green jerseys, but you see so many different jerseys in that place. It's like, where are these people coming from? It's not all Philly fans at Ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I want to hit a couple other things. Ever since winning the Super Bowl, Philly has become more classy and truly understood our goals are bigger than just Dallas.
True.
It's an interesting point. I think that I do think there's a big picture at play here where it's like, yeah, definitely would like to beat Dallas. No doubt it's a big game if you just look at standings, blah, blah, blah. But there is a bigger picture in mind. But man, I don't ever want to get to the point where I like the pettiness. I don't ever want to get past that. Honest to God. I really don't. I think everybody's sort of doing this where it's like it's an automatic win. The Cowboys aren't worthy. Whenever that starts, and I'm not saying that's what Tone said, but whenever that starts, your team's in for a loss when you start thinking that way. The Eagles.
Yeah, this Eagles team is so focused week to week. They will say it every week. Hey, we can't afford to look past the next opponent.
Yeah.
And they're really meticulous about that. They also put out there, we have a loftier goal to get out there and to rectify what we didn't do this past Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That is the long-range goal. But to get to that long-range goal, you have 17 landmines, and if you're the number 1 seed, an additional 2, so 19 landmines to get past to get there.
Yeah.
So they are very good at focusing on week to week and not looking ahead past anybody. Because as we saw, if the Jets caught them off guard, doesn't take much.
No.
Last year, Washington caught them off guard.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much.
And Fitness Rebel, I block all the Dallas stuff until it's over, basically, and it says Eagles win, so I can't act a fool online. Otherwise, it feels like a jinx. I get that. Yeah, let me give you one other thing that I think is at play. We have been so beaten up over the last year plus, meaning lost the World Series, lost the Super Bowl, lost a heartbreaking NLCS, and I'll get into the Rangers winning the World Series last night.
Sixers bowed out again.
Sixers bowed out again in the second round. The Union lost in their championship game. We've had our fair share of tough ones, and I think that has left everybody a little
edgy.
hazy, a little edgy, and a little bit sort of like in a weird headspace. So I think there's something to that. All right. Speaking of, Derek, I got to tell you, I told you I had a hard time watching the World Series. I had it on last night as I was doing the show, but I've had a hard time watching this.
Right.
Watching the Rangers rip through the Diamondbacks the way that they did and winning the series 4-1 and a couple last night wasn't, but the night before was a beatdown. It makes it so much worse. The Phillies were so much better than that Diamondbacks team. And I agree. The better team won because the Diamondbacks were more clutch and all this other stuff. I'm just saying, like, it's such a wasted opportunity by the Phillies.
You're right. But look at how the Diamondbacks, same pitching staff that handcuffed the Phillies in the biggest moment, could not. I think there's no question Phillies against Texas would have been a great series. I can't just sit here and say the Phillies would have beat Texas. That Texas team can hit, man. That Corey Seager, my goodness. He is the Bryce Harper of Texas. You look at his playoff numbers, my goodness.
Yep.
I think Texas's pitching staff was better than Arizona's, but it was one of those moments. Arizona strategically, their manager strategically sent the right person to the mound at the right time to handcuff the Phillies at the most strategic, most dramatic moments. Couldn't do that against Texas. Same pitchers. Couldn't do that. Last night, I think it was the 8th inning.
Yeah.
Texas got 3 hits in 3 consecutive pitches.
Yep.
It was like pop, pop, pop.
Yeah. And then when it just the floodgates opened up, it just exploded. Yeah. Yeah, that was.
And that's why Bochy's won 4 World Series.
Boy, do we not talk about him enough? I mean, this guy's won it, he's taken 3 teams to the World Series and won 4 altogether with 2 different organizations. How is this guy not spoken about like in Belichickian terms?
Absolutely.
The guy's nothing short of brilliant. I mean, he is an incredible manager, and props to him. I give him a lot of credit.
Finally win their first ever World Series.
That's right.
They were overdue. They were due.
I agree. And they were a former Washington Senators before they became the Rangers.
Yes.
So a couple other Sixers play tonight against the Raptors, and I saw during shoot around, I saw Covington, I saw Marcus Morris. I saw several of the other guys. So I would assume if barring any kind of conditioning stuff with physicals or whatever, that these guys will be out there tonight. I know last night Harden didn't play, but PJ Tucker played for the Clippers. So I would guess you're going to see those guys tonight. I'm excited to watch it tonight. See what it looks like.
So Tucker played. Well, Tucker's not scoring any points. All he has to get out to do is hack and defend.
Set a screen.
Set a screen. Harden didn't play. They have to figure out. They have to figure out how they're going to integrate him in. When you're talking about Russell Westbrook, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, you got to figure out how you're going to distribute the ball. Somebody's not getting their shots, or should I say somebody's shots will be reduced in a hurry once Harden steps in that lineup.
Yeah. I agree.
You got to figure out. But I want to see if this works out. I'm not so sure this is going to work out.
It's not, and I can't wait to watch it. The explosion there. Yeah. Dan says, Sill says that Bochy's better than Torrey. I agree. I agree.
Hard to argue against it.
Yeah.
When you look at the numbers, it's hard to argue against. But you're right. Bochy does not get the recognition he should for what he's able to do as a manager in professional baseball.
Yep. All right, let's get a timeout. Let's come back and I want to do 2 things with you. We like to do our over-unders before, leading into the game. We have over-unders, which I got a bunch for you, Derek got. I'm going to bounce off you. And also, I want to throw Eagles players at you, and you tell me if you feel like they're exceeding what your expectation was before the season, or if they're underachieving a little bit in your estimation. So we'll do those things when we come back. We got an NFL segment. We'll get a little bit more into what Daryl Morey had to say. We didn't really dive into that much. We will do that. We do have a game tonight, and there's some information on that game. We'll dive into the best games of the week. Bob Knight passed away at 83 years old. We'll talk about that. We have the coach, Billy Crocker, coming up. We'll tell you how Eastern did this past week and look ahead to who they have next on this Saturday. So we got a lot to do. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right now, you know what? You hungry? I am. Bravo Pizza of Havertown would hit the spot. Yes, it would. Been going there since I was a kid. They've been family owned since 1985. You have Alex and his great crew there each and every day, putting out the most delicious spread that you will ever see. That's for sure. 20 different styles of pizza daily, slices to go. They have the specialized pizza. However you want it, they will make it for you. But if you're not up for pizza, they have fresh pasta, sandwiches, wraps, wings, salads across the board, man. It is a lot of different choices there. And Bravo Pizza of Havertown is committed to the community. They have fundraisers for charity, schools, little leagues, where the proceeds go to those organizations. You can follow them at the Bravo Pizza of on Instagram and Facebook for daily specials and promotions. They're at 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown, Pennsylvania. That is 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center, Havertown. Give them a call right now, 610-446-3810, 610-446-3810. Here's a little bit more from Bravo Pizza of Havertown.
I remember getting my heart broken when they lost the Super Bowl in 2004. We were big Eagles fans. We moved to South Philly because of the Eagles. When they won, we went straight to Broad Street, and everybody was going nuts over there, and it was just a memory that you'll never forget.